Frontier have been adding quite a bit of content to Elite over the course of this year, and it's been great seeing it, as well as seeing their plans to the future for the title. Not only have they made a return to delivering new ships into the game, but also they have plans to enhance and overhaul elements of gameplay. It's a refreshing change of pace. Whilst 2023 certainly saw its fair share of updates for Elite, 2024 has so far been quite a big step up. The next big update for the game, of course, is going to be the Powerplay overhaul, or as Frontier have previously termed it, a refresh, and we can see some of that on the screen right here that they showed on a recent livestream. Powerplay 2 then aims to improve a number of elements of the game and includes some mechanical changes such as the introduction of new fleet-sized locations which bring with them a variety of challenges, as well as visual changes and functional UI improvements. All in all, it sounds like a big change from where Powerplay is today. Of course, it's still all in very early days. Right now, it's impossible to tell the impact this update will have on the game as a whole, and I mean that both in terms of how it will impact the fundamental nature of Elite, but also more broadly in terms of the impact it might have on the player base. Likely it's going to be very good for player retention. After all, people who are already interested in and actively participating in Powerplay are going to be quite happy with where things are going. But the question still remains as to whether or not Powerplay 2 will be of broad enough appeal to A, bring back a significant number of players, or B, bring in new players. My guess is that it will be fairly good for player retention, or very good. That is, it will help keep existing players around, but it will also have less of an impact on bringing back old players and bringing in new players. After all, Powerplay 2 is a fairly deep part of Elite, and to some degree it is arcane, although the overhaul is aiming to try and fix that. It's generally not a part of the game that casual players or even new players will jump in on immediately and want to tackle. Likewise, for players who enjoyed trading, exploration, engineering and upgrades, it's also likely not to be of huge appeal, or at least if it is, then maybe only tangentially. After all, it is possible to go out and do a mission or two and have that impact Powerplay and then perhaps see some of the repercussions of that. But overall, it does lead me to wonder what comes next for Elite. Of course, it's very early days right now and not everyone is going to appreciate me posing this question. I mean, Powerplay 2 is likely still a few months away, and here I am already asking what will come next, or if Powerplay 2 is even going to be enough. I get it, it's a question that on the surface might feel entitled, inflammatory, or perhaps a little egregious. But in the end, it's a question that comes from a place of looking towards the future of Elite, of wanting to see the game continue to evolve, grow, develop and improve. What's also funny is that I know there will also be others out there that will view me as far too much of a fanboy simply for looking towards the game's future. It is what it is, whether some people like it or they don't. My view has always been on the future of the game, both long term and short term. So with that in mind, do I feel Powerplay 2 is enough for Elite? Is it a significant enough of a change? Is it something that Elite vitally needs? Well, the blunt answer to all of that is no, it's not enough, far from it. But I don't say that in a negative way. I'm not saying that Powerplay 2 is a bad move, I'm simply saying that after Powerplay 2, I feel there should be another update that, in the same manner, revisits and refreshes another part of Elite. I feel that such a process would go a long way to help Elite continue to grow and change. It's a case of not resting on laurels, but moving forward and expanding. And I'm sure if Frontier are planning this, then really they would be sitting around and discussing this right now, rather than waiting to look at it next year or the year after. For me, obviously, well, for most of you I guess watching would guess that I would love to see some big changes to exploration. This is something that's always been the most interesting to me when it comes to Elite, but also there are many other parts of the game that could also do with a refresh. Engineering is clearly the most glaring example. It needs not only a rebalance, but also perhaps a new implementation. Combat, in some ways, is in a good place right now. However, some years back, even Frontier themselves discussed the possibility of rebalancing ships and other aspects of the game, so it's definitely something that is much needed at this point, and all the more so due to the arrival of new ships. Trading, meanwhile, could do with some work. I've always been keen to see a bit more of an active and living economy, and whilst currently it is simulated to an extent, it still feels far from living and reactive. Ultimately then, there's a lot of places that Elite could go in the future. Powerplay 2 is a great start, but it isn't enough. Bottom line, it's never enough when it comes to a live service game. So this isn't a complaint directed specifically at Elite, but rather it is just a critique and, well, just the very nature of live services. By their very nature, they invite continuous and never-ending updates, new content, refreshes and changes. A game that evolves and changes is a game that continues to thrive, and 2024 has been a great start for that for Elite Dangerous. Let's hope that it continues, and let me know in the comment section where you would like Frontier to focus on next, if indeed they will do such a thing. What areas of the game would you like to see revisited and refreshed in the future? Let me know below. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time, and take care.